And hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Inside of the Dam podcast. We are on to episode 4 in the second season, the second year of doing the podcast. And what a great journey it has been, not just for us, but to be able to talk to and listen to all the wonderful stories that Minot State athletes have in and around their experiences through campus and through their athletic endeavors. I'm your host, Cole Clementich, back for another great show for you guys. As always, you probably know by now, we have 3 guests on deck for tonight. And yeah, be on the lookout for that. We have a couple players of note. So one of the football players, defensive back, he's currently leading the team in tackles right now. So be looking out there actually pretty quickly here soon. We're bringing back some guests that we had on last week, but due to audio technical difficulties, hopefully everything is back in working order, and it looks like it so far, but don't knock on wood, obviously. But so be on the lookout also for a junior goalie from men's hockey and also a transfer from Cypress College, a goalkeeper on the women's soccer team. So be on the lookout for that. Before we get started here, folks, Papa John's, they are the premier sponsor of the Inside of the Dam podcast. Hit them up on their website, search for any deals that they may have going on. Search Papa John's in Minot. They can also be reached at 701-852-7272. That's 852-PAPA to place an order over the phone. We are very gracious of Admir and Papa John's patronage of the Inside the Dam podcast. And kicking us off here, folks, like I mentioned, as a redshirt junior defensive back, he's from Las Vegas, Nevada, and mentioned it earlier, 45 tackles leading the team. He's a tackling machine out there. Give it up, folks, for Isaiah Bigby from the football team. Isaiah, how are you doing tonight?
We're doing great. How are we doing today, you guys?
Yeah, we are doing just fine. And yeah, thank you guys, as always, for tuning in live on the KMSU podcast live stream. We're going to get started here. So, Isaiah, you've been on the show before, and, a lot has happened since then. Obviously, the new coaching staff, talk about how have you approached that change, with the team, and, what's that experience been like?
I feel like anytime we have any type of change, the biggest thing is making sure like your leaders are on board with it. So whatever Shield says, I'm ready to go for it. So he tells me to run through a brick wall, I'm just gonna ask him how fast, and he asks me to jump and say how high. So
no, that is good. Definitely a good way to approach the new staff there, and that's always a good sign. When you have the trust of the staff and the staff has the trust of the players. Just kind of talking through, obviously, a rough start to the season, but, you yourself personally, like I mentioned, just making tackles. You're making plays out there on the defensive side of the ball. You guys have actually had some solid games on the defensive front. I talked to Carson a couple weeks ago. How have you liked this unit so far this year, especially on defense?
I feel like we have one of the better units we've had since I've been here. We're actually really good this year getting to the passer. That's really good. I think we're struggling on third downs a lot right now, but as far as collectively talent-wise, we're really good. I think we need to get better at just playing the full game. We'll have a really good drive, another really good drive, and then some bad will happen, and instead of stopping the momentum, we let it swing again. And that's where we lead to, like, really bad score games. So, like, we go back and watch the tape, and we're like, man, like, that game was a lot closer than the scoreboard made it seem. It just plays like that. So, but I think we have a really good unit on the defensive side of the ball.
And it seems like you guys, I mentioned, constantly making plays and time in and out constantly. And, obviously, given that the, results haven't been showing, I mean, you guys have put some good tape out there. And, what do you guys kind of attribute that to, with the new staff, obviously, how have you guys approached them, especially with your position unit? What's new? What's maybe new or what's different this time around?
I would say the process. We just talk a lot about the process, how to do things. So even after all these last 6 games, we've went in and we said, okay, like, what is the process to getting a win? What's the process to making a tackle? What's the process to scoring a touchdown? The process to everything. Because I feel like a lot of times you get so focused on the outcome, you forget how to just, how we're going to get there to create the outcome over and over again. So, like, the biggest thing for me lately has been I've had a lot of tackles, which has been nice, but I need some more interceptions. I need some more forced fumbles. So we can't just, like, say that's what I need, how I'm going to get there. It's more of, okay, what do we do to put ourselves in positions to make those plays? So I would say probably that.
And moving on here, talking more about the schedule here. So coming off a tough loss to Northern, but you guys have an opportunity this weekend against Concordia St. Paul. You guys got a win against them a couple years ago. They've seemed to have gotten better, but how do you guys approach them this upcoming weekend? What are some game plans that you guys have going forward, and what's kind of the scouting report on this game so far?
I would say first off, every game for us really seems winnable. Like talent-wise, we can compete with anybody. So we go in every week like really expecting to win at times. So it's just execution at that point. That's probably the biggest thing that we're struggling with right now is knowing what we have to do. We know what we got to do, but now it's executing it. Do it over and over again at a high clip. This week, Concordia, really good running back. I think he's a lot better than people think he is. He runs kind of hard. Doesn't look like it, but he breaks a lot of tackles, keeps the wheels turning. The quarterback's not that bad. He can throw a little bit, he can spin it. So I think we need to be really good up front, really good on the back end tackling. And then when the opportunities do present ourselves on the back end, making sure we pick the ball, go score with it. So
that is all good input there, Isaiah. And really just talking going forward here, with this new staff and obviously getting a win against you, Mary, that'll be a couple weeks down the line, but you guys have 2 home games to wrap up, or 2 straight home games this upcoming schedule against Concordia St. Paul, and then I believe Minnesota Duluth for Senior Day. But you guys end off with 3 road games. Like, is that unusual? One of them against you, Mary, another very winnable game. Obviously, that will be a big-time rivalry, but another one, Michigan Tech, is non-conference game. First time in a little bit. How are you guys approaching this schedule? Obviously, maybe week by week. We all know that, but talking, maybe not looking ahead too much, but what are some expectations or goals you guys have for the rest of the season?
We've really been focused on this week, just 1 week at a time, really. But that is a lot of travel in the last 3 weeks. But I think I've adopted a mindset, at least, like the greatest pleasure in life is having the pressure to succeed. So adversity is great. It prepares you for what you have to do. So for us, it's just another game. You get 1 less day to practice, 1 less day to prepare, but, whatever it is, let it rip. But I would say finishing out the season strong is our big deal. We still have a chance to make history, do something that's never been done in the D2 era. So I think we can definitely win 4 or 5 games here. It's just coming out, executing, doing what we got to do. So we're excited.
And wishing you the best of luck as the season rolls along. Moving away from the gridiron, I apologize. I missed on my notes here what your major was, and we had you on board last time. But talk about, since you've been on, what classes have you taken? Talk overall broadly campus life. More on that. What's been going on in your major? What things have changed since? What have you learned? And maybe attribute to the gridiron.
So I started my grad program this semester. Yep, this semester. So I've had
grad school now.
Yeah,
grad school. All right,
yeah,
there we go.
School.
There we go.
So I started my first little 8-week class. This finishes up this Wednesday, actually. And then I start my next 2, I believe, on the 15th. So that'll be fun. My classes are online, so it probably sounds really bad, but I kind of feel like a pro right now. Like, school is definitely a thing I'm doing, but it's kind of on not the back burner, but I forget about it at times because I don't have to go to a class. So most of my days just honestly been tailored to football. So, like, we'll go work out. I'll go back, work out again, go watch the film with my coaches, break down some more film, go do something else, catch some balls. So it's been nice in that aspect of just being able to still do school, but then have a little bit more focus to football. So
yeah, all about that routine. And I think it had just dawned on me that I see your name online. We're actually both taking BADM 535, Management Principles and Practices. How did I forget that? I have no idea. But yeah, so yep, you graduated and now off to even brighter scene in grad school. So yeah, wishing you all the best in that. And anything else you'd like to mention to the fans or to anyone listening here or watching tonight?
I just appreciate you guys having me on the show. Just keep the support coming. We need it. We love it. I think something that I feel like we don't express enough, but we really appreciate all the support that we get from the community, the school, admin, everybody. So
that is certainly well thought out there, and great work, Isaiah, as always, in your college endeavors. And we wish you, again, best of luck the rest of the season and in your schooling as well, and already getting that bachelor's degree as well. But thank you for being on.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Folks, that was Isaiah Bigby, defensive back for the Minot State football team and also grad student, having just gotten his bachelor's degree there. That's the important information to keep in mind or keep note of there. And Minot State football back home this weekend, October 14th. That is Saturday, 1 p.m. kickoff for Education Day. And speaking of, we might as well show it off here to the fans or to everyone watching. These are the upcoming home games for Minot State University Athletics. So all the home games, volleyball tomorrow. Got a bunch of hockey games going on. Of course, mentioned football and women's soccer. A couple games at the Herb Parker Gridiron. And also men's soccer, men's club soccer. They're playing Sunday early in the morning. So yeah, be on the lookout and support the Beavers in every game that is taking place here on campus. Before we get to a break leading to our next guest here, folks, we just want to remind you, Papa John's, as the premier sponsor of the Inside the Dam podcast. Hit them up on their website, search for any deals they may have going on, search Papa John's in Minot. They can be reached at 701-852-7272. That's 852-PAPA to place an order over the phone. We thank Admir and the Papa John's crew for supporting the Inside the Dam podcast. I'm Cole Clementich, your host tonight. When we come back, you're going to hear from Siriana, Gudino, and my partner Howard Wade will be in the host chair for that portion of the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to the Inside the Dam podcast. Cole would have mentioned I'm Howard Wade, graduate assistant here at Minot State University, and I am joined by Siriana Gudino. And Siri, before we get into all that we do, let's remind the people about Papa John's, our very proud sponsor of this podcast. And folks, you can hit them up on their website and search for any deals they may have going on. They definitely have deals going on. It's Papa John's. They always do. And you can reach out to them at 701-852-7272. That's 852-PAPA to place an order over the phone or, like I said, on their website. Now, Siri, as you're so affectionately called, you're our goalie for the women's soccer team. Tell us, how has things been for you at Minot State after you've transferred from California?
First things first, I really do like my team. We're really close.
Yes.
I'm like, first, gotta like the team in order to like playing the sport,
Yeah, for sure.
Something that I enjoyed the most is like when I first got here was like TJ, the head coach, just making sure that we build the chemistry right away, because if you can have all the best players in the world, but there's no chemistry, like it's just off on the field. So
right.
Definitely throughout this season so far, we had our ups and downs, and we're like, I think once you go through the downs, and you like get back up, you're a lot stronger together as a team. So I think that's something that's really cool now, that like have that little stronger bond, because we're literally fighting with each other.
Yeah, but in a good way.
In a good way, yeah, there you go.
In a very good way, in a very sisterly togetherness sort of way. Yeah. You're pushing each other to be the best that you can be. And coming off of some road games, now you're back at home. How was that road trip? Like, are you a big fan of being on the road consecutively or not so much?
I get homesick from California, but I guess I get homesick from Minot too after a while. Man, being gone for like a whole weekend, it gets to you, and it feels good to be back home defending the Herb. It's going to be more fun, and we play a little harder, because we have something to protect when we're here.
Right, yeah. We got to defend the Herb at all costs. Got to defend the Herb. And you're in about the midway point of the season. Tell us about the difference in play, if there is a difference in play, from the JUCO level to now the Division II level as a goalie.
As a goalie, I think definitely learning just how to be more disciplined in my box. Like I used to be more of a just go out and get the ball kind of goalkeeper, because I was always able to get it. But Division II level here, like, the girls are more technical. The forwards are stronger in the air. Even though I'm taller, there's girls who are smarter with it. So I got to be a little smarter. So it's definitely a pleasure to like be able to learn at a higher level of like how to become one of the best goalkeepers.
Yeah, not a bad idea to continue to improve yourself. So you're coming off of 13 shutouts in 2 seasons and a 2-time All-League selection, so you're someone to be in goal for us, okay? And you've already made your staple here at Minot State in the first few months that you've been here. You have Crookston and Bemidji State coming up this upcoming weekend. Is there some sort? I want you to give out the game plan just in case.
Let me tell you.
Coach TJ doesn't want everything out there, but is there something keen you're looking out for this upcoming weekend in goal?
For me as a goalie, definitely just stuff I've been practicing from the past games, like watching film, learning that I did this, I can change this up a bit, so I'm going to work on that this next game. And then definitely as a team, we're just the work rate, making sure we're taking this one game at a time, As a team, just mentally, we're all together. So now it's just that technical side that we need to get to of just finishing and ending the game, with us, with the win kind of thing.
And I love that you said that because, every sport is different. You said one game at a time you're taking it. Mm-hmm. So that must mean a lot of film session on your own time and as a team, because you can't stack, say, like, for example, as I mentioned, you have Minnesota Crookston, Bemidji State, and then the following weekend, next Friday, you'll have Winona State, all home games. Mm-hmm. You have to watch and break down per team.
Yeah.
That is deep. So that shows the dedication.
And then by position too, I'm doing it goalkeeper myself, forwards doing it themselves too. So we're getting, tedious here, which we need.
What can we say? Perks of the student athlete life. Am I right?
And then there's homework.
Well, let's talk about that. What are you studying here at Minot State?
I'm in professional communications with the option in sports broadcasting. So hopefully I'm in your seat someday.
Trying to kick me out already.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty solid major. As you mentioned, I did get my undergrad in a similar degree form, and so I'm almost sure that you will do even better than I did. I'm almost sure.
I'm 100% sure.
Technically, if I may jump in here real quick, technically she can do this because she's a major. Just a fun fact.
Well, we never know. Maybe, just maybe, next week Monday, maybe.
A lot of maybes here.
Maybe. I think you get what I'm saying. Wink, wink. Maybe Siri will be the one hosting the podcast. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But I'm sure you're getting accustomed to college life here at Minot State, the major and everything. And as you mentioned, soccer takes up a lot of your time, takes a lot of energy, I'm sure. But what are you doing physically to stay in shape being a goalie? I know there's like regimens, food regimens, fitness. How does all that encompass as a soccer player for you?
So definitely in the morning, we have practice at like 6:30 in the morning.
6:30 in the morning.
I try not to eat too heavy in the morning. I'm more just like a fruit, maybe like a bagel kind of gal, definitely for the morning.
Right.
Definitely just keeping up with weights. I did just come off a shoulder injury, so I'm like slowly getting back into the full strength. I can do stuff, but then it's like, can't do that maybe, but definitely showing good progress. So I'm all good there. And just also individual work, always asking my coaches, can we work on this specifically? Like we go over the film and then I'm like, okay, can we go over this real life now? Practice.
Okay, that's pretty solid then. Well, Minot State thanks you, and the city of Minot thanks you for your play here at Minot State. We're all so very proud of you, and we continue to look out for you out there in goal for us. I will be in the booth, maybe with Cole. I'm not totally sure just yet this upcoming weekend, in the booth broadcasting for Minot State Athletics.
Yeah, I believe I won't be there Friday because I'll be at hockey, but Sunday I should be in the booth with Howard.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll be there, and we'll be supporting, and we'll be all cheering for you, Siri. Continue to do your best. Continue to do all that you can for MSU Athletics. And to all of our listeners out there, thank you for tuning in to this segment of the Inside the Dam podcast. Don't forget, Papa John's, our proud sponsor. Reach out to them at 701-852-7272. That is 852-PAPA. Place an order over the phone. Check out the deals they have. And stick with us as Cole will be with one final guest here on the Inside the Dam podcast.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Inside the Dam podcast. A big thanks to my partner and co-host, Howard Wade, for stepping in and having a good conversation and getting some nice details from Siriana Gudino, women's soccer goalkeeper, and also great chat with football defensive back Isaiah Bigby earlier on in the show. We hope you guys are having fun. If you're just tuning in, that is a little bit of the recap so far here through the podcast. And before we get into our final guest, I'm here to tell you guys all about Papa John's. And Howard said they likely do have some deals going on, but yeah, be sure to hit them up on their website and search Papa John's in Minot. They can also be reached at 701-852-7272. That's 852-PAPA to place an order over the phone. We thank Admir and the Papa John's crew for their gracious support of the Inside the Dam podcast. For our last guest here tonight, folks, junior goalie from Grand Prairie, Alberta. He also played 3 years of junior hockey, 2 of them with the Dryden Ice Dogs. Jake Anthony, national champion Jake Anthony, might I add, joins us tonight. Jake, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, Jake. So we're very fortunate to have you back on. And yeah, unfortunately, apologies for what happened last week. But thankfully, we got things rolling here now. So Jake, kind of going to go off a little bit from last week, hopefully here. But yeah, just talk about, your season. How's it going so far? The start that you're having. And obviously talking about the home opener, all the big events, the unveiling of the third banner. Just walk us through, what was that moment like to see all of that unfold?
Oh, man, the banner raising was unbelievable, especially to do it against Liberty, a top 10 team like that. We had to go through them in the national tournament, so that was kind of cool to have them in the building for it. And then having all the alumni in town as well was just perfect. They actually read our pregame speeches and got all the boys fired up, and so it was really cool to see them afterwards, and then having them in the room to do the post-game celebration. It was probably one of the best ones we've had in Minot. It was awesome.
How cool was that to have all of some of your old teammates that have moved on, that have graduated, and to be there on the ice? I mean, they set out the whole red carpet. How cool was that to be able to share that moment?
Oh, it was unbelievable. They all talk about how much they miss it and how much they wish they were still playing. So it felt like they were there with us. And then having them in the stands, hearing them screaming and hooting and hollering. And I heard my name yelled a few times, so it was nice to have that little bit of motivation. It was lots of fun.
No, that is good, certainly, and getting a lot of fans out there too. But yeah, moving on from that. So now new season underway. You guys went 5-0, early on, beating Liberty, actually just completing a game against UMary this past weekend. We'll get more into that later, but you guys, stay undefeated and now keeping that number 1 ranking in the ACHA, power rankings, I suppose, and, to be able to keep that rolling along. And 4 games against Liberty, you guys swept them all in midweek against Jamestown. Now this past weekend against UMary, that was the first Division I versus Division I matchup between you guys in the rivalry. Talk about that. What was that like? And, to be able to take that first matchup and have the last laugh.
Oh, it was interesting. They wanted to play against us in their home opener, and we didn't understand why, because they haven't had particularly the best luck against us. So we were very excited watching them get introduced and have all the light show and everything. It was just giving us motivation to go over there and beat them. So they do something over there where their student section stands up until they score the first goal. So it was before the game that we were like, how about we just make them stand up the whole game? And so they did end up getting 1, but it was a good halfway through the game. It was pretty cool to see them standing the whole time and not letting them sit down. That was fun.
Poor short people in those Mantan stands. Yeah. But no, that is really cool. And, you guys getting that first win, a big one, D1 versus D1. Hey, that's bragging rights right there. And, for them to be first year Division I, what did that provide any extra motivation for you guys? What's kind of that outlook like?
Oh, yeah. Playing them in the past, knowing they were D2, it was always a serious game because of the school rivalry, but we knew it didn't count towards rankings. So not that we went in light, but a little bit of a different mindset. So now that they're D1 and we know that they're going to be a really good D1 team, it helped us a lot within the rankings, and we knew that was going to help us a lot in the rankings. So we didn't like giving up 3 goals, but the fact that we were able to score 5 and outshoot them the way that we did, it's only good things for us. So now having 2 teams in North Dakota that are going to be really competitive, I think will help us a lot come nationals.
And Beck Sports had the broadcast on that game last weekend. I caught some of the highlights a little bit. That was a nice toe drag goal by Troy. I believe it was Troy Hamilton there. But, going on the road, taking down the Marauders. And, for the start of the regular season, now you guys kind of have that target on your back. Obviously, sweeping through the competition to this point, talk about, what is that mentality like, and how do you guys, just kind of stay on your game and, keep your eyes on the prize?
I got to go back for a second. Hammy, that was the guy who scored the toe drag goal.
Please
that was
do,
one
yeah.
of the nicest goals I've ever seen.
It
So
was
I'm very
really
thankful
nice.
I only see him in practice and not in real games, and that I'm on his team.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't have liked being on the highlight reel going against that. But to answer your question, our coaches and our leadership do a great job of keeping everyone in the moment. So before every game, we go through goals about what we want for the game, shots for, shots against, goals for, goals against, block shots, that kind of stuff. So keeping it at a one game at a time basis. And then even further than that, when we get into the game, our coaches do a great job of keeping us period by period. So it's never too high, never too low. And they kind of go from there. And it seems to be working. So,
Coach Waz is something else, and in a good way. And he's, been coaching you guys up tremendously. And he's established an amazing staff here on campus. And obviously going through the transition when the team officially became athletic department affiliation, that was kind of, some uncertain times a little bit. But, ever since then, you guys just have not looked back. And, really expanding on that a little bit further here, just kind of talk, obviously I mentioned eyes on the prize, the national championship. Obviously, that's what's on your guys' minds. Do you have any personal goals? Does the team, aspire to have any particular events that they want to achieve this season?
For my personal stuff, I'd like to be on the all-academic team. That'd be cool. That'd be a nice feather in the cap, I guess you could say.
Nice.
As far as team goals, the D1 games coming up in December are definitely on the list. We talk about those a lot, and I think it's important. You need to talk about the things you want. You can't hide it in the dark. So probably some nerves, but most of us are pretty excited. We're excited to see how we match up against someone like Denver and Colorado College, who are two of the best D1 teams you can find in the hockey world. So getting through that, it'll be nice to see where we stand and then roll into the national tournament after that with hopefully a lot of confidence.
Yeah, that is right. That is actually a good segue. You bring up a good point. This December, you guys are playing some of college hockey's best, and this is NCAA Division I we're talking here, like you said. And for these teams, these are borderline, the NHL prospects are on some of these teams, or they have a few of them on each team. To be able, looking ahead to those games in late December, how big of a challenge is it going to be? How do you guys approach this, knowing that you guys are going to be playing some of the best that the college hockey world has to offer?
Well, I think one of the most important things, and our leadership and WAS has been enforcing this, emphasizing this, I guess, is building speed through a practice. So we know in our league there's 10, 15 teams that can probably skate with us, and then after that it kind of tails off a little bit. But when we get up to there, it's going to be about us trying to keep up with them. So we're trying to keep our speed up in practice to try and get on their level. So that way when we get there, it's not a culture shock and we can play with them.
You guys are listening right now to Jake Anthony, junior goalie from Grand Prairie, Alberta, had a 1-0 shutout, or got the shutout in the 1-0 game, the title game over Adrian College. Jake, we may have touched briefly last week on your major a little bit. I unfortunately do not have anything on my script, so that's on me there. But, this will be a good way to talk about, mention to us, what are you learning in school right now, and talk a little bit about campus life.
Oh, campus life is always great here. It's nice that it's small. You kind of know everybody, it feels like. So I won't lie, junior year has been a lot tougher than freshman and sophomore. So I've been a lot more in the library, a lot more hunkering down on the studying. So especially with these midterms coming up, kind of get my butt beat up a little bit.
Oh boy, yeah, we love midterms. Yeah, not, but yeah, talk us through more on what some classes you're taking right now, if you're applying that to any of your part of the game in hockey, or just kind of what are some favorite experiences on campus. Discussing briefly with a lot of athletes, MSU life events. Bingo's a big one. Do you have any favorites there? And what do you like to do in your free time? And talk more about your studies too.
I'm sure everyone says bingo, so I'll go outside the box and say the food on Welcome Week, the free lunches.
I like that.
Much better than what I can cook anytime, so I enjoy that. And then my classes. I'm in a lot of number classes. I'm in 2 accounting courses and a finance course right now, so trying to keep all the formulas straight's been a little tough, but we're getting through it. We'll see how my finance test tomorrow goes, so hoping for the best. But
best of luck there.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously you have the national championship and, going forward for the rest of your college tenure, what do you hope to accomplish here on Minot State? What do you hope to use your degree in which career field you hope to maybe retrieve someday?
That's kind of a loaded question for me. So I'll start with a little backstory. When I was playing minor hockey, I met a lady named Jackie Freeman, who's a cognitive trainer, and which is essentially getting your eyes and brain to work at a faster pace with less information. And I thought that was just the coolest job in the world. So that's what I want to do. So I'm in entrepreneurship and business management, and I'm hoping to start my own cognitive training service someday, and specifically towards athletes to try and help them the way my trainer helped me. So where? That's still to be determined, but hopefully somewhere big.
Hey, shout out Jackie. And someday, you might be working on some other Minot State athletes or some people that you might know from
cool.
Your days playing before Minot State. But yeah, Jake, so before we let you go here, anything else you would like to mention out there to the fans or family, friends watching, tuning in on the live stream?
Thank you for having me on. I got to say that first, or for the second time, I guess.
Yeah.
I appreciate the love that you guys have given us all the athletes, all the teams. It's just really cool you guys can do this for us. And pack the Pepsi whenever you can. It's nice to have a big student section. It helps a lot with us and getting the motivation to play. So come on.
Yes, for sure. 3 straight games this week here, Beaver fans. Be sure to check them out in action. I'll actually bring up the home schedule once again here. So yeah, 3 games. Actually, the women's play too, quite honestly. So Thursday night against Missouri State, and then 2-game series over the weekend versus Waldorf, and the women's play before them versus Liberty, a rematch of the national championship on the women's side. Jake, thank you so much for being on the Inside the Dam podcast today, and wishing you, again, all the best in your journey. So yeah,
awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cole. Thanks for having me.
There you have it, folks. That was Jake Anthony, junior goalie, native of Grand Prairie, Alberta, and of course getting the shutout victory against Adrian, national champion last season, and now the team getting underway. Jake and the Beavers are this season. Before we send it off here, folks, just want to remind you that Papa John's, they are all for supporting the Inside the Dam podcast. We are so grateful for them. Hit them up on their website. Search for deals that they have going on. Search Papa John's in Minot. They can also be reached at 701-852-7272. That's 852-PAPA to place an order over the phone. Great show, as always, once again tonight, folks. To recap, we had first guest Isaiah Bigby, defensive back from football. We had Siriana Gudino, a junior transfer and a goalkeeper, getting a lot of playing time for the women's soccer team. Excuse me. And you just heard Jake Anthony from men's hockey. So national champion Jake Anthony, might I add. So if that was impressive enough. But great show tonight. And want to give a big thanks to my partner Howard Wade for stepping in as well, getting in some reps and a good conversation with Siriana Gudino earlier. So that is going to do it for us. That concludes episode number 4 of the Inside the Dam podcast. We will see you guys later, and have a good rest of your night.